Greetings Marines, FiOth here yet again, and in this vid I am bringing you my newest iteration of the Bounty Hunter build for the Phalanx. I made this vid in conjunction with my previously released one that is remodding the Frontier Revolver for Season 4, and this pair perfectly together is a handgun based build. It will help you bring the Phalanx to extreme and insane with handguns that are actually going to be effective. We're using Ordnance here because Ordnance is amazing and shouldn't be out of any Phalanx build. It gives it tremendous added utility and versatility, with the added benefit of a very hefty initial chunk of damage that I never knew I needed on the Phalanx. So, without further ado, let's get into the build proper. Of course, we're using the Frontier Revolver. This is Bay, and this is going with the new modding guide that I made. Here are our perks. We'll start with what is basically needed to have the best possible results, and then we'll move on with the nuance stuff. For our shock poles, we want ability recharge speed and only ability recharge speed, because the duration that I've been using in other cases of build crafting for the Phalanx actually helps the buff that you get as a defensive mechanism, but this build that focuses on handguns doesn't need to get you in there with a shotgun all the time. You have to hold your ground at a relatively long distance. Batteries included in rapid deployment as always. Then we go Shell Shock. Shell Shock pulse causes activated enemies to take an additional 10% damage for 4 seconds, which is amazing. Aftershock. Shock pulse leaves behind an electric field for 10 seconds, slowing any enemies that make contact with it. This will not be affected by duration perks, trust me, do not even try that. Shock Ordnance, you throw it away, stunning them for 2 seconds, dealing 2500 damage. If you don't have any other buffs, 2500 damage is all the runners in the cluster. This is great, this is crazy, I don't know why we didn't have it earlier. Now, what we want to do with this thing, we want to be able to hit consistent crits with our handgun of choice. To get the best crits that we had, we need to augment them with gun perks. We need to use the correct mods on our guns. The Frontier Revolver used with this build is a very punishing weapon, and you do not have to use it. You can use the Kramer, you can use the 95, you can use the Dumbula for all I care. Okay, what we need to understand though is if we're going for this build, we have to respect our crits. We will start with Doc Handgun Training. Increases the range and weak point damage of handguns by 15%. Excellent, fantastic, nothing wrong about it. Doc Handgun Expertise. Increases the reload speed and accuracy of handguns by 15%. Now, if you are not using the revolver, which is the staple for this build, you can change this and go for something that's not reload and accuracy. Okay, it is 100% viable to go for whatever you want according to the handgun that you will be using. These modifiers are interchangeable. I am not gaming Jesus, I am giving you suggestions to optimize and min-max according to your needs. So, grab what you need, replace what you don't, and make the handgun usage that of your own making. This is a Bounty Hunter kit build, and this is supposed to be wearing a leather cowboy hat and using a revolver, so we're going for the revolver in this case. Phalanx Handgun Mastery increases the magazine capacity and weak point damage of handguns by 15%. Again, I cannot increase the magazine capacity of the revolver beyond 7 bullets, unless there is some miscalculation that usually happens in the game and will give me a 7th, for example. Just happens sometimes, it's a glitch that's been in the game since day one. But we need the weak point damage. This and this together gives us a 30% weak point damage added benefit. It is nuts. Okay, we want this. Trust me, you need it in your life. Shield Bash. Your melee attacks now briefly stun enemies while shield up is active. There is no reason in hell why this shouldn't always be on a Phalanx. What are you doing with your shield if you cannot even shield bash them? Shield Bash is a very good stun. It's consistent. It will apply every 5 seconds, I think. Well, you don't want to try to get a double whammy on an ultra enemy on insane with a shield, but if push comes to shove and they're not trying to grab you, you can stop them dead in their tracks, and if it's a crusher, it can pray to whatever gods it believes in, because crushers are defenseless against the Phalanx. They cannot do anything at all. Focus under fire. Each stack of bulwark also increases aim assist and reload speed by 2%. Very, very, very nice, especially in synth missions. But it will work pretty much everywhere you can make a stand and avoid getting surrounded whilst you're blocking and getting the results. Again, we're using the revolver. We need all of the reload speed we can get and aim assist that we can get. Okay, don't sleep on aim assist, it's very important. Adrenaline surge. When you're at max stacks of bulwark, your ability to recharge is increased by 50%. This is like the best perk in the Phalanx tree. If you're fighting synths, this will just ruin their day. They just keep you up on bulwark all the time. You'll throw ordnance. They are weak to electricity. They get zapped. They act like they're having a strange orgasm there. Take a stand. You deal 3% more damage for each nearby enemy. Again, your Phalanx, no matter how you approach it, no matter how you play it, unless you're playing with a Vol and a Kramer with a scope, put this in here and get out there and be the focal point of the enemy's assault, so you're helping your team because you're invulnerable to frontal damage. If you are a Phalanx playing from the back, you're doing it wrong. Now, the thing that ties it all together. Jackpot. Whenever you kill something that's not a white blip, you reload your gun. Why did I put this in here? This is a trainer. This is basically a trainer with huge benefits if you perform. If you are consistent with headshots, even if you're fighting enemies on extreme insane, even if they're spitters, bursters, humpers, whatevers, if you have some sort of communication with your team and you manage to net the killing blows with your handgun, that will take out a hefty chunk with this bullet, I promise you, you will be reloading a gun that is very reload reliant. The revolver is extremely reload reliant, we all know that. This will actually get you back in the fight if you're playing consciously. Let me get the final blow. Call it out. Get the final blow on an opportunistic enemy. Whenever you do that, you will be reloading your weapon that then can keep hitting with a 320% crit on a basis damage of 788. I cannot stress enough how much of a better crack shot with a handgun this perk can make you. Like, I'm using automatics and shotguns most of the time. I'm not the best shot with a handgun, but whenever this thing procs from a handgun bullet, like from an insane 3000 something bullet that came out of the revolver because of all the buffs applied, this feels real good, guys, and I urge you to give it a go. It is not the one thing that you should be using, and again, if you're not using the revolver and you use like the Dumbula, you should not be using this, like spray and pray and make them dead. But in the case of these hard-hitting guns, like the Kramer, like the revolver, give this one a shot because you will be pleasantly surprised. So, 2 uploads today as well. 1 kit build, 1 gun build, and I try to keep dishing them out as fast and consistently and, well, quality tested as possible because, you know, a day has only 24 hours. Sub, like, share, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified about uploads and streams. And if you really want to help me out, consider Patreon or get a membership here on the channel. It really helps a lot, and streamers have to eat as well. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection, Marines. Cheers!